Hello, good morning. Welcome to another Your Lurgan podcast. If you're watching, you know exactly where we are. If you're not, you're going to have to guess for a wee while, but we'll leave that to you. I'm Donagh.
And I'm Michael Scott. Hello, how are you?
Well, I'm good, and you're good. Not that long since I saw you during the week.
You did.
And
We'll be talking about that again.
yeah, you get better looking every time.
Thank you very much.
So, a busy...
Wish I could say the same about you.
Yeah, thanks. A busy week and a quiet week. One of those kind of mixtures of weeks.
It has been. I suppose we've all sort of been playing catch up because, the last couple of weeks we haven't had a lot. We've had a lot of stuff, but we haven't had a lot of stuff in a way because the likes of PR firms and stuff like that who normally send us in stuff have sort of gone to ground. Obviously, with the Queen Dan, businesses don't want to be seen to be putting stuff out during that period, and it was a national mourning period. Excuse me. But, we're getting back up to normal now. It was busy at the start of the week anyway with the announcement about the bins, which I'm sure we will talk about first of all. First of all, before we get into that there, can I just say a big thank you and a big shout out to our sponsors of today's podcast. E-Cigs Are Us down in William Street. Lots of great flavours and stuff down there for those of you who enjoy e-cigs. So
Thank
head and visit. Thank you very much.
E-Cigs, we're glad to have you on board. E-Cigs Are Us, William Street, Lurgan.
But yeah, I suppose we might get into the news, straight into the news.
And there's one thing dominating the news. When did it break? Wednesday night? Tuesday
night? It was Tuesday night. There was a council meeting held, and obviously we're talking about the strike, the bins.
The ABC-wide strike.
Yes, more than just the bins.
The three unions, of course.
So we've had 6 weeks of disruption to services. Obviously, we're talking about the bins because the bins is the main thing that people have noticed has been disrupted. But we're talking as well the likes of your leisure centres and community centres and recreation centres haven't had regular opening hours for the last while. Other things like street cleaning has been affected. Things like that there. Your council services, 1,000 staff members who are all members of GMB Unite and NIPSA have all been out in industrial action for the last 6 weeks. I've said 6 weeks quite a lot there, but just want to emphasise it's been 6 weeks, it's been quite a long time. And on Tuesday night, a special meeting of ABC Council was held. What happened at that meeting was it began at 6:30 and very, very quickly went into committee, which means it goes into private. So members of the press like me, members of the public are excluded from the meeting. You don't know what's going on.
That was anticipated though before.
That was anticipated. We knew that was going to happen. And the reason for that is because they're talking about people's wages. They're talking about things like that, their personnel issues. So they're not going to discuss that in front of us. And I suppose that's fair. I wouldn't like people discussing my wage in front of people. Paltry though it is, hygiene.
We can do it now for you if you
No,
like.
you're all right. I forgot what I was going to say now. Yes, so meeting finally ended around 9:05. And basically what happened was they came out of committee and the Lord Mayor said, "We've no more further business," boom, end of meeting. And that was it. And we were like, what's happened? What's happened? Nothing's happened. So we don't know. So very quickly got on to my contacts, shall we say. Well, not name. And they confirmed that there was a deal done. So we were the first to break the news because the story sort of already written anticipating that and just got it straight out. So that was okay. We then had an influx of statements, first from Sinn Féin, then Alliance. We also then had a council statement around 9:30. We knew by that stage then that not all the parties had agreed to the deal. But it was enough members of the council voted in favour of the deal.
Not unanimous, but majority.
A majority, yes. So we understand. We can't say for sure because obviously we don't know the outcome of the vote, but we're fairly certain, given the statements that have come in and what we know, that the DUP weren't in favour of the deal. And in their statement, they explained, look, there's not enough detail here. We don't know how this. Obviously, it's going to cost a lot of money. Let me see if I can find. I've brought a clipboard with me today to bring all the details. So the deal will bring the industrial action to an end and will cost the council annually in the region of 1.5 million, with an additional 1.2 taken from council reserves to fund the one-off cost of living payments that they're going to get. So the DUP are basically saying, well, if, what's going to happen? Is this? They're saying that a council officer said that this would lead to a double-digit rate rise next year, which in the cost of living crisis is not great news. They also said that could affect council services. There may be closures, there could be redundancies, and there's not enough detail on what this could mean later on down the line. So that's what their point of view is. However, I think the majority of people, the majority of councillors certainly anyway, were happy to back the deal. And of course it means now we can all get our bins emptied.
I suppose the realisation is that some of this has been long sitting there to be discussed and moved on, and particularly the increment move.
Well, that's the thing. I think the one question that we haven't quite got to the bottom to is how did it take 7 years? I mean, the council's been going since 2015, because I remember covering the elections at the time. I'm near sure it was 2015. It was, because I was still at the Tyrone Courier at the time. And so we've had a council since 2015. Don't forget as well that before that, for a period of about a year or two, they sat in shadow. So there was like a shadow council set up while the old Armagh District Council, Craigavon Borough Council and Banbridge District Council all continued sitting. So you had 3 councils sitting, plus you had a super council shadow committee, which was basically organised to oversee the run of this thing, the setting up of this thing. How they haven't until now got to the stage where they've worked it out and got everybody on the same pay grade for doing the same jobs, I'm quite baffled by, to be quite honest. But we'll try and find out. I'd love to know the answer to that.
So I suppose that's where the reserve comes in. They're using some of that reserve.
Yes. What was it again? Said 1.5 million of reserves, wasn't it? Sorry, 1.2 of council reserves to pay that one-off. No. The 1.5 million is a one-off payment to reflect the rise in the cost of living. So the 1.5 million then is to sort of balance out the wage increases and stuff like that there. Okay. So again, that 1.5 million is going to be every year until, of course, it's negotiated again. So I mean, considering the fact that everything has gone up in price recently anyway, I think we are going to have to expect rates increases over the next, or well, certainly next year anyway.
I think every part of the country is going to be exactly the same, as long as if it's just specifically here in Armagh, Banbridge and Craigavon Council area.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, the price of everything's going up. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it at this stage. Obviously, there's a budget announced at the weekend. We're not quite across all the detail of that just at this point in time, but will that help people at home? Well, who knows?
So bins, and now the collection of bins is the next question.
So,
well, now, we were about to tell you the council advice. However, since we recorded this podcast, which is why I'm sitting here on my sofa, the advice has changed. So that's why you've got this funny little edit. So the advice is now from the council that the bin collections have returned or will return to normal from Monday. So basically you can put out your black bin on your black bin day, or if it's your green and brown bin day, put those out. Previously they weren't collecting green bins in order to prioritise what they called smelly waste, but now you can put that out. So the advice now is follow your bin collection calendar, which you may have, or you can get it off the council website, or there's an app as well you can download. So it'll tell you, going by your postcode, what day your bin is due to be collected. Leave your bin out by 7 a.m. on the morning of collection, and if your bin isn't collected, just leave it out and until it is collected. They'll get it. And also, I'll just quote this, if you see me looking down, looking at my laptop here. General guidance has also been issued to advise that while bin collection crews are working hard to catch up on missed collections due to the 5-week industrial action period, crews are continuing to deal with high volumes of waste across the borough, and as a result it may take some time to get back to full service levels, and the council would appreciate residents' patience throughout this process. Now, everything else I'm about to tell you is correct. So, back to the marina.
Let's see, I'm just going through all the notes I have here. So, yes, in terms of the recycling centres which reopened again, they will accept all waste except for rubble, metal and wood until further notice, and that's just to get rid of general waste. The reason, just to explain why they're prioritising the brown and the black bins, is they want to get rid of what we regarded as smelly waste. I'm sure we can sort of appreciate that. Nobody really wants to smell around their house, so they want rid of that. Users are asked to ensure waste is sorted before they arrive at the recycling centres. Centres may close periodically for a short period to allow the disposal of waste. I would imagine that at the weekend we may see quite a bit of a queue of traffic trying to get in. Now, we were obviously down on Thursday, and it wasn't too bad just after they had opened. There was 1 or 2 cars going in. In fact, it actually got busier as we were filming.
Absolutely. They almost knew we were there, but we didn't film anybody going in. We thought it best not to, but it certainly was busy-ish.
Yeah. And then people are asked to be patient with staff and other users if you can, because it's not fair to be nasty to these people. It's not their fault.
No, they're doing their job.
Yeah.
Everybody has that right to strike.
So, what else have we got here? Commercial waste collections have resumed. No side waste will be collected, though businesses are advised. Bulky waste collections and bin purchases are still suspended for the time being to get general waste sorted out. Street sweeping and cleansing has resumed. And all leisure centres are opening. Just to come on to the other side of the thing as well. Leisure centres opening as normal. Outdoor leisure is back to normal with the exception of golf courses, the likes of Silverwood. Check before you go down, see if it's still open. All members will receive a direct update in relation to the reopening of the Silverwood golf course in due course, we are told. And then football pitches. Work is commencing to reopen grass and synthetic pitches across the borough. However, there will be a delay to reopening. Affected customers will be notified. So at the time of recording, we don't know how that's going to play out in terms of the weekend's sporting action.
So hopefully we'll know by next week they'll be up and running.
We will. Recreation centres are back to normal as well. And good news, toilets are back to normal. They're reopened when cleaned and inspected. So there you go.
Good stuff. Now you have it. And we'll keep you updated throughout the week. Plenty of opinion on this, as I said before. Plenty of opinion on our site. And not all of a similar nature is diverse opinion. And it's important for you to get your opinion out there. Just be a bit wary of kind of becoming abusive. That's all I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think anybody really has. Any comments that have been made so far online have been fair enough. So yeah, we actually got a fairly nice online community, I have to say. Yeah, we're starting to get to know some of the people, who comment and like our posts, which is good. That's what we want.
And more sharing them too, which is also
that'd be great.
Good.
Yeah.
Spread the word of your Lurgan and further afield. We're actually down. I can disclose now if you haven't guessed already. This is Kinigo Marina. Lots of these boats.
Very beautiful it is too.
It is. They're doing a bit of dredging by the look of it. There's a dredger going about there. It's a wonderful place to come and relax. There's a coffee shop here, which I think is now reopened, I suspect.
I see somebody trying to go into it there, so I wonder, we're just watching here to see if somebody comes out with a coffee. Nope. We'll have to go and investigate that.
We'll test that one in a little while. So the marinas here, the glamping pods are around here too. It's a pretty impressive spot from where it used to be.
Yeah.
They're cutting the grass here.
But you know something? The one thing that I'm glad to see, we noticed earlier on there was a couple of council bin lorries. I'm glad to see these places, like the Kinigo Marina, being cleaned up, because they're on Monday. I was down at Gosford. We called them the Gosford because it was the day of the Queen's funeral. We were all off, and we decided in the afternoon we'll go down and get wee man out of the house. He made a kite on Friday, on Sunday. Sunday it was, he made a kite, so we thought we'll get him out and we'll get him flying it.
I still want him back in the podcast.
We'll get him on. So funny, he was asking me earlier on before I came out to record this, Daddy, you doing the podcast today? Can I come on the podcast sometime? So we'll get him back on someday, we promise.
Appearance.
But the thing, obviously this is before the strike had ended, and there was rows of big metal bins just filled up with rubbish. And it was just a real shame because the park was really, really busy and lots of people in it. Obviously people had, to be quite honest, nothing else to do because everything was closed for the funeral. So it's good to see the council facilities like this, which are very, very important. You have to say, what they offer here is a leisure experience. It's really I think we've got a really good offer in this borough.
Without doubt, and Oxford Island included in this. I suppose this is part of the Oxford Island complex. If
and like again, I said before the last time we were down here, the play park down there is fantastic.
Well, I had to pull you out of it.
You did. I'm a big fan of the swings. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll talk about some grown-up stuff now. Spadetown. My favourite local brewery. Made a big announcement.
As far as I know, it's the only local brewery, but I
think there's a couple of ones around here, but no, to be fair, they're very good. They have announced a big investment, £800,000 of an investment, and a number of new jobs with that as well, which is really good. They're going to produce 3 new lines of beer. There's a red ale, a stout, and a non-alcoholic IPA, which is going to be coming out in the very near future.
India Pale Ale, I think that's
Indian Pale Ale, yeah.
Stands for.
I do like an IPA. Big fan of an IPA, actually, to be honest.
Non-alcoholic, will that appeal to you?
Do you know something? I wouldn't say no to it. I would never rule it out. I have.
You're so decent.
I've dabbled in the non-alcoholic beers before, you know. Some of them are nice, some of them aren't that nice. So I'll wait and try the Spadetown one to see what it's going to be like.
It's a long time since I touched the alcohol. Not for any particular reason, just that I don't kind of bother with it. But I did have the well-known, internationally famous Irish brand that begins with G and ends with S. There's Zero Brews, they call it. And I didn't like Guinness beforehand, and I still don't like it. Anyway, but that's a personal thing. Yeah. But I can understand.
All their beers are available.
I understand that the appeal is there for non-alcoholics. So many people want to enjoy that experience. So there is a taste to IPAs, you say.
Sorry, Donagh, I just want to interrupt you there to say I'm just sort of considering hijacking one of these boats.
Yeah, of course. Where you go. I'll come and visit you in...
Do you think we get away with that?
Well, you might, because I am just standing here. I'm just enjoying the weather. My brother had a boat one time. Actually, it was moored down here. We're talking about the 1980s, and it had sat for a long time. There was a hole in it, and then they towed it. It was when the marina was actually down at the Loch Ness Sailing Club, at the very far end where the Discovery Centre is, and we trailed it along the road that's here. And I don't know if you know the official entrance into Oxford Island. Just as we were coming round the corner, but a bump, the trailer departed from the car, and the boat almost passed us in the road, and that was the end of the boat anyway.
Just to clarify, I'm not going to steal a boat. If a boat goes missing in Kinigo Marina, it's nothing to do with me. No. And even better news, I've just seen a woman with a coffee, so therefore I must be able to get a coffee all right.
Priorities are right.
Our third story we're going to talk about today, which...
I'll just say about Spadetown, they had an important anniversary during the week. It was 20 years since Armagh had won their first and only so far All-Ireland Championship in Dublin. I was there myself, 23rd of September. What date is it today? Maybe it's...
This is the 23rd today, isn't it?
Well, it's really the 25th, but yeah.
It was
Oops. Thursday or Friday. So a lot of people commemorating that, and indeed, Spadetown had a special evening for the clan that is Armagh Gaelic team, Armagh GAA, celebrating with all the participants from that game at the actual event. Looked really fun. They didn't invite you and me, but then again, we didn't play in the game. So
no, I wouldn't be expecting a call up for that one. That's all right.
Well,
we'll get down someday, don't worry.
It's a big investment that they're putting
in. But it's great to see businesses are willing to put that sort of money in, and it's good to see a local firm, doing so well. They're willing to put that sort of money in, particularly in the times that we're in. That's sort of the point I was going to try and get to. And then we started talking about that before we started talking about hijacking boats.
Yeah, well, see, you've obviously had too much IPA this morning. Possibly.
Not yet. Anyway, they can't rule it out later, mind you. But no, it's good to see, and hopefully they'll keep going from strength to strength.
800,000, you reckon, the investment?
Yep, that's what they told us anyway. So that's what we're reporting on anyway. So
more stories.
Yeah, one which I'm going to skirt over. I'm sorry, it bores me. It's facts and figures. It's very, very boring. The census. I have all the figures here.
You have the census for the ABC.
Yeah, so we got the figures for ABC.
We've heard of the general census.
Yeah, and I think the figures in the ABC borough, sort of reflective of the more wider Northern Ireland story. So the number of people living in the borough has increased by 9%.
Oh, it's quite an increase.
It's quite an increase, yeah.
In 10 years?
In 10 years. So the last previous census was held in 2011. Obviously, Census Day was held last year, which was...
Was it giving you the same measurement of the same area? Because the councils have changed. Is it based on council area?
I think it's based on council area, and I think they know from 2011 by all their data and all that there. I think they know what they're at. So I'm trusting them. Census Day was held on March 21st, 2021, you may recall. So you may have filled in your census before then, or you may have had a rap at the door that day and say, hey,
where is your census?
Where's your census? Get that filled in, or I'm going to send you to jail. Something like that. Anyway, so the majority of people living in the borough are Catholic, according to the census, 41%. That's an increase, apparently, of over 11%. 11,000. From 78,841 in 2011 to 89,737 last year. Now, the next biggest religious denomination is Church of Ireland, 16%. Presbyterians make up 14% of the population. 3% of the population are Methodists. 9% say they fall in the other Christian groupings, about that be Elam or something like that. And then 16% say they have no religion or did not state their religion. So that sort of tells you that we're sort of becoming a more secular society in the borough. And again, that's something that's been reflected.
I'm often wondered, we get the figures, the facts and figures, them and us, percentage here, percentage there, your group, my group, whoever group it is religiously. Does the same thing happen right across the rest of the United Kingdom? Do they?
It does. I think they do. If they do a census, they're asked what religion they are.
But they don't seem to fixate on it.
They don't, because that's what we do over here.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Anyway, the next point that we're coming to, national identity. Now, this is probably the one that's probably more telling, I think, in terms of, because obviously a lot of us made of the fact that there's a Catholic majority in Northern Ireland now for the first time, and it's a 101-year history now. But I think what people really should be looking at here is the national identity, because that probably gives you a better indicator of how people would vote in a border poll. So a third of the people in the borough say they were British only, 26 were Irish only, but then you also have 90% who said they were Northern Irish only, and then 21% were classed as other. So that might be people who said they were Irish and Northern Irish, British and Northern Irish, that type of thing, or from another nationality. So that's quite interesting. In terms of those who have a UK passport, 25% here have an Irish passport. Almost half of people have a UK passport. I think it was 46% off the top of my head. 16% of the borough's residents have no passport. And 13% were classed as having another passport, people who obviously have a different nationality.
Not everybody wants to travel or needs to travel.
That's it.
In the United States, the figure's something like 50% don't have a passport.
Really?
Something really, really high. They've never gone outside their own state, many of them.
It's a big country.
It's a big country.
Let's see, 15% of people living in the borough were not born in Northern Ireland. 9% were from outside the UK and Ireland. And then in terms of languages, 93% of people said their main language was English. And 90% said they had no ability, never came to Ulster Scots. 88 said the same about their knowledge of Irish. And then in terms of males-females split, we have a 50-50 split in the borough. The largest age group in the borough is those aged 40 to 64. That's you.
Okay. Oh, no, I'm above that.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. Just.
Well, then you are actually...
well, when I was writing it, I was...
You are actually in the minority then.
Shocking.
You are, in the 65 plus age group is 16%.
We'll take over the world. But that was last year's figures. I was in that grouping. So you see how wrong it can be.
Those like me are just shy of being... We're the second. I'm the 15 to 39-year-old bracket. 31%. It's only 1% behind.
When you all get together someday in a big park, let me know.
Now, the only thing I will say, Donagh, about that figure is the number of older people living in the borough has actually increased.
That's the trend for the whole of the United Kingdom, isn't it?
The number of younger people, not the 14-year-olds, that's 21% of the borough. That's actually down. So there's more younger people, or fewer younger people living in the borough.
Which is the
but
opposite,
more
of,
older
the
people.
opposite of Southern Ireland, where I think the younger people outnumber by quite a distance the older people.
Yeah.
And I suppose the basis of the census, we're saying about them and us, you have to know the numbers that you're going to cater for so that you can put the services in place and serve those people accordingly.
It's useful for the likes of councils and obviously local government to try and work out where the need is, and that's the basic. That's the real reason why we have the census, so that people can work out where things are going.
Funding from bigger governments, as it were, because the numbers are going this way and that. Interesting stuff. I mean, I know you don't find it. It's probably the same old story. We get the them and us part of it, but when you dig down, there's lots of good information to be had there.
There is. It'll probably come useful to someone, just not me.
Well, businesses will use that. I mean, if business are doing business plans and the rest, that information can then give you a target for your audience, as it were, and all sorts of stuff. And
well, again, if anybody wants to go and have a look at those census figures, they're all available on our website.
There you go.
We'll move in. Oh, sorry, we're not moving the sport. I was going to say we're moving the sport. We're not. We're going to talk about where you were on Wednesday night.
I'm all shook up. I went over to Banbridge to meet, ostensibly just to meet the one fella, and turned out there were a whole load of them. I was there to meet Daniel. Daniel May. Daniel is part of Banbridge Musical Society's All Shook Up. It's based around the music of Elvis. And he got to sing a song or two. And then I met 3 or 4 others who were from Lurgan as well. So it was a meaty story, as it were. Would you like to have a look?
Yes.
I'm playing the role of Chad in All Shook Up.
So All Shook Up must be about Elvis Presley. That's a wild guess.
It is, well, it is and it isn't. If you've seen the likes of Mamma Mia, it's a musical that's written around the songbook of Elvis. So Elvis himself isn't in the musical, but the entire song list is all Elvis classic songs.
So everybody in the cast is singing Elvis, not necessarily being Elvis, but you look a little bit like him.
Well, that's probably maybe worked in my favour, even though I'm probably not your ideal age for somebody to play a Chad, but I think maybe my hair has helped marginally get me the role, but yes, you're correct. So every song will be sang, different characters will be singing different versions and interpretations of Elvis songs.
So how long have you been performing, doing roles and different things?
I was probably a late bloomer. I didn't start doing any type of performing arts until I was 17 or 18. So you're 20 plus years now. I love it.
So you are too young. You look much younger than that.
Oh, thanks. I'll give you that tenner later. Yeah, I'm 40. I'll be 40 next year.
Yeah, and really into all sorts of musicals. What have you performed over the years?
I've done Les Mis. I've done Dirty Dancing. I've done Joseph probably 10 times. Boogie Nights, Sound of Music. The list could go on and on.
Did you just grow up liking singing, or did you do it at school?
My mum always was a fond singer. My sister was a dance teacher. So I think it was just kind of, I'll not say forced upon me, but it was around me. So whenever the likes of Mads were doing productions 2 miles from where I was living, it kind of drew me in.
So, you said she was making what kind of sound?
You know, like a jiggly wiggly. Say, any hope you can fix her soon. You know what took the last fella 4 days just to get her back in the road.
Oh, well, I can fix any motorbike in an hour.
Oh, how'd you learn to do that?
Oh, well, I always loved motorbikes, and ever since my mom passed, I spend more and more time in my dad's garage, so,
Well, a girl that's good with a wrench.
Are you alright?
I'm alright, yeah. That was working up to my Elvis impersonation, but I got nowhere, so we leave it alone.
Well, good luck to them all.
But I have to do it. It's now or never.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes, I think we leave the Elvis story behind us as well.
Yeah.
But you can book it's actually...
It's at the marketplace, isn't it, in
Armagh?
Armagh?
It's rather sad for them in some degree. I think they had to change their regular venues since COVID and whatever. Pre-COVID, I think they were doing a lot of it in Banbridge, but they can't do that now. The opportunity isn't there, so they're now, like others, like the Mads group, they do it in Armagh, which is a brilliant theatre. But wouldn't it be great to have a theatre in Banbridge? Wouldn't it be great to have a theatre in Lurgan?
Well, there is a theatre in Banbridge. At the cinema.
I think that was unavailable to them.
Well, there you go.
So we're going to have one in Lurgan soon.
Are you building it?
Not this week.
Right, okay. Anyway, what else have we got? Sport. Yeah. No Glenavon to mention this week, unfortunately. No game.
The game was cancelled on Friday night.
Game was cancelled. We were due to play Glentoran on Friday night, but due to a number of international call-ups that Glentoran have, Conor McMenamin's in the Northern Ireland squad, the main squad. I think they've got a couple of players in the under 21s as well. So that game was called off. I think it's being played now on the 8th of November.
Well, I have to say it's a great ground.
I was going to ask you, you made your return to Moorview Park.
I returned to Moorview. It was lovely. A friend of mine, Jerry, who's living in Banbridge and originally from Lurgan, always liked to pop his head in. Over the years, he was telling me about going with all his friends when he was much younger to Glenavon, showed me the bank that they stood on. And of course, the bank is gone now. You've got those big, fantastic stands. And we sat in the main stand and really enjoyed the afternoon. Good game of football. Glenavon were unlucky, probably deserved not to win in the scheme of things, but it was close enough that they could have won or could have drawn at least.
Yeah, I think if it got a point, I don't think Clifton would have complained. I think we were well in the game for 83 minutes until they scored.
Fine goal it was too.
It was actually, he had it well, although I would argue it wasn't a free kick that he got. I think he kicked the ground.
There's the point.
I think he actually kicked the ground, fell over and then got a free kick. But
you've seen it given before, haven't you? But well completed, well finished, bottom left-hand corner. And we couldn't figure out, from my distance anyway, with my eyesight, had he put it through the wall or round the wall? And we think he put it round the wall, didn't he?
I think he did, yeah. It all happened very fast, every kick.
But it was a lovely experience. Fine people there and good facilities, I have to say.
Yeah. And the amount of people who came up to me afterwards and said, "Oh, I just saw your mate Donagh out there." I said, "What?"
You can go nowhere.
I know. So, So I'm going to have news for you. Our next match, and we'll talk about this more in detail next week. We'll have a lot of build-up actually in the coming week as well, so keep an eye on this in your Lurgan. Glenavon play Portadown at Shamrock Park, first Mid-Ulster derby of the season, on Friday night, 7:45 kickoff. You can actually watch that game on the iPlayer if you really, really want.
Wow.
Come down to support Glenavon if you want as well. Tickets are on sale. So yeah, we'll be talking about that a lot this week, and we'll be talking about Glenavon win in our next podcast.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
You hope.
No,
anyway, I used to go to the Portadown matches more than I went to the Glenavon matches over
What?
the year. Well, we had the pub across the road, you see.
Oh, really?
And at half-time, or no.
The chalet?
The chalet, yeah.
Did you?
So, yeah. So
You learn something new every day.
I used to go for the first half and then made sure I had to be back for half-time because that was the real busy time. And then at full-time. So I used to see a fair bit of Portadown. Ronnie McFall was there, but then Ronnie McFall was there forever.
Ronnie was, yeah. I have to talk more about that because I would be interested to know all about your background at the chalet. But anyway, we'll that's for off camera. Anyway, GAA.
Yeah, so some of the championship is on this weekend. As you may have seen from Eugene Graney's reports, the senior championship is on. St Peter's are involved in that. They played their game early this Sunday. It's 1:30. Then Crossmaglen and all the other teams are involved in the later matches. Marfrey, of course, too, will play this afternoon. So look out for reports on those as we continue.
For those of you who are watching and wondering why I've turned around, you mightn't be able to see in the camera here. We've got a couple of guests here who are just being very, very noisy.
Yeah, these are seagulls, aren't they?
Yeah.
So we had some big, enormous ducks earlier on. Oh, yeah,
One of the Brighton fans. They're the seagulls, aren't they?
Yeah, they're the ones, the Brighton fans.
Yeah.
Awful.
Anyway.
And then the Ducks here, who are Millwall fans, I think. No, we don't call them the Millwall Ducks.
No.
Anyway, we digress.
We do.
So, look out too for ladies football we'll be covering. Of course, Clan Erin will be playing the Armagh
Harps, yep.
Yeah, later this evening. And we hope to have some updates from that during the course of the day.
Clan Erin going to that game as big favourites, don't they? They've
do,
played them a couple of times already this year and they've beaten them quite convincingly.
This time last year it was the opposite, that the Harps had beaten Clan Erin, so big disappointment. Big disappointment that time. So this time round, the ladies should have it.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's not it. I mean, there's more on the website. Obviously, go and check the website. There's lots of stuff on there. That's all we're going to talk about today, though.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like plenty to me.
Yeah. Don't forget, if you want something covered, if there's a story that tickles your interest that you want us to cover, we'd love to hear from you. You can drop me an email, info@yourlurgan.com, or this man might come out and pay you a visit.
Sounds like a threat when you say it like
It
that.
actually does, doesn't it? You should actually start that. If you don't give us your stories, we'll send Donagh out. You can also find us on social media, which is we're on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Just search for your Lurgan, you'll find us, no problem.
And before we finish, thank you very much to our sponsor for the day, E-Cigs or Us. They're on William Street in Lurgan, and if I'm not mistaken, a young Sean Craney will greet you there. And thank you for your sponsorship this week.
Yes, indeed, thank you very much. That's it from us.
Yeah, I'm Donagh McKeown.
I'm Michael Scott.
Have a good week.